Hello and welcome to The Red Menace. We're a comedy news podcast bringing you the latest and greatest stories, hits, things from the front lines of the United States election. That's right, we're stepping into election coverage because it's been dominating the news cycle and it makes me sad and bad.
Usually when I scroll through Twitter, I can find lots of different things that are funny and entertaining to talk about, but actually no, it's not happening like
It's just
that.
a bunch of different people, all of whom I individually like, being extremely mean to each other.
Yes. Yeah, essentially. And then some, like, Australian people pitching in with some bad takes about abusers, but it's not funny.
Yeah.
It's not comedy material.
I'm dead inside. So the big news in the election this week is that Michael Bloomberg has entered the ring.
Mikey boy.
Mikey
standing, yeah, throwing his hat right into that ring.
Now, I'm unfamiliar.
And by his hat, I mean a lot of dollars.
Just a shitload of money. I'm unfamiliar with whether he was in the race before and no one cared, or whether he suddenly just decided he would be.
I don't think it really makes a difference, because it's essentially worked out that way.
Yeah, because it's gone so 0 to 100. It used to be like, which of these 7 people is going to be, like, will it be Warren, will it be Buttigieg, or will it be, like, Sanders? And now it's just like...
Or will it be the guy that is also there, maybe, whose name starts with B, but we're not going to really mention it.
Yeah.
On the news.
No.
But now they have to.
Now they have to.
But now the other B-boy is in the race.
But now it's suddenly become, can Bernie Sanders kill the billionaire? Like, that's what the coverage has become. And it's like such an immediate switch. It's wild.
Well, yeah. I feel like talking about the Democratic primaries could lead to some kind of, tension in the listener base. But I think everyone can agree that that Bloomberg...
He's just a living comic book villain.
Is just a comic book villain. He's
like,
the villain in an 80s movie who wants to bulldoze the town pool to build his billionaire club.
He's Lex Luthor. Like, that's...
Exactly. And unless this team of, 10-year-old baseball players win the tournament and save their field, he's going to come in and build his hotel on top of it.
I got very confused by his name, because there's Bloomberg the magazine, there's Bloomberg the him, and there's also Bloomberg the guy who owns the Reply All podcast. And it took me a long time to realise that those were different people.
Well, Bloomberg does own Bloomberg. He does own Bloomberg the magazine, and Bloomberg the Newswire, and Bloomberg the media networks.
But he doesn't own Reply All, and I'll take solace in that.
That's something outside of his grasp. He owns a lot of things.
Do we think that Bloomberg is actually a clone of this Bloomberg? That is, because he's also presumably quite wealthy because he runs a podcast empire.
Well, perhaps. You never know.
I think he might just be his mini-me.
Would that offend him to say?
Probably.
Will he listen to this? Probably not. So that's okay. If you are listening to this other Bloomberg, then you can take that up with Chris, not me.
It's telling that
retweets are not endorsements.
It's telling that I don't remember your first name, other Bloomberg. I'm sorry. But yeah, so bad Bloomberg, or old Bloomberg, as we can call him, he just sucks so bad. And it's been fun having, this mysterious villain pop up. It's been very, 5th season of Riverdale. Just and now this person is here, and they're a mob boss.
Yeah, and now this guy, now everyone cares about it. It's Supernatural to me, the show Supernatural, where suddenly halfway through it's like, oh, now this monster exists and they're more powerful than all the other monsters.
Than the previous 12 monsters.
Yeah, and then all the other, like, powerful 12 monsters will have to team up to take down the rich guy.
I think what Bloomberg wants is he wants to be like Spike in later seasons of Buffy, where he's like, these are some real bad guys, but I'm also a bad guy, but you need me to fight that bad guy. The problem is that Spike was sexy, and Bloomberg is not. And so it's just not going to work, I'm sorry. If he was sexier, then I'd think about it. But unfortunately, as it currently stands, I can't.
You know, it's like, here's the thing. I think Bloomberg's entire campaign is he's just making cringe content. And I know cringe culture is over, Chris.
Is it?
Well, Bloomberg's certainly trying to bring it back if it is.
Yeah.
He wants to bring that back with his... have you seen the really good billboards he's been paying for to put everywhere?
Like the golf ones?
Yeah, which is just... Hang on, I've got it open here. Donald Trump cheats at golf. It's like, okay.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know what you're trying to do here.
Because as far as I'm aware, his policies are just continue with what we do now, but, like, nicer. And
right.
I mean, I don't love that. But...
It's not ideal.
It's not... There's not a lot of substance to this.
No, it's like... If I saw that, I would not be convinced. Because here's the thing, if you're a Trump supporter, which I hope if you are, you're not listening to this podcast. If you are a Trump supporter listening to this podcast...
What the fuck, man?
Yeah, what are you doing? You've completely misread us as people. But I feel like if I was a Trump supporter and I saw Donald Trump went broke running a casino, I'd be like, yeah, he knows the struggle that real Americans face, bro.
Who's it targeted at? Like,
I don't know. I don't know. Donald Trump lost the popular vote. Ugh.
No one gives a fuck about that anymore.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's... Yes.
Yeah.
You're right, you're correct. It hasn't swayed anyone in the entire 4 years that...
It's like, he may have done that, but he's still the fucking president.
And we have to... Yeah, it sucks.
Live or die with it. I was going to say something clever and insightful.
Donald Trump's wall fell over.
Oh, that's so fun. Oh, yeah, I was just going to be like, I don't get why being good at golf qualifies you to run a country. I just don't think that's relevant information. I
feel like
if
the
you were
fact
good at,
that,
like...
you know, Bloomberg even cares about golf alienates him from a good 99% of the population. Now, we did discover that my sister is a golfing aficionado.
Every new piece of information I learn about your sister makes me like her less and less, and it's very...
I love my sister.
I love her too. She's great. She's going to take my girlfriend to see the Miss Fisher's Mysteries movie, or whatever it is.
I'm sorry?
She invited me to the Miss Fisher's Mysteries movie premiere thing.
Why?
Because she got a free ticket to it.
Okay. Karen did? Or my sister did?
Your sister did. And
Right.
then I was like, oh, Rebecca's invited me to go to this thing. And Karen was like, oh, wow, I love that. Please, I love that. That's so good. I love it. And I'm like, Karen, would you like to go to this thing instead of me?
Can you go instead of me? Because I feel like you would enjoy this.
Whereas I'm going to suffer through it.
Whereas you'd be like, this is a thing that I was invited to.
Yeah. We've been avoiding doing our podcast for nearly 10 minutes now.
We have. We've been... We
Do you have
have
a story for me, Alison?
I actually don't have a lot of stories this week for once.
That explains why you've been faffing on the way you have.
I have. Do you want to start with a story?
Yeah,
We'll
okay,
switch it around. You can start, and then I'll jump in afterwards with
I feel
limited supply of stories.
I feel profoundly uncomfortable, but let's...
It's a strange thing. If you would prefer to make this a normal experience, listener, please skip ahead an undisclosed amount of time to when I speak, and then skip back to here, and then you've got it back in order.
Or, given which story I'm about to read, maybe just skip.
Okay,
This is from
Go ahead.
Slate.com. This is by Rich Juzwiak, and it's in one of those formats of, it's like the readers write in and ask questions about their lives and the person gives advice.
I must say, I get clickbaited into reading a lot of those advice articles on Slate.com, none of which I can relate to, even in the slightest.
No, this one is particularly outside of, I think, both of our experiences. So this is from the How to Do It column.
Okay, this is a particularly...
The headline reads, "My wife wants us to have sex with her brother. I'm not opposed in principle." Just...
Okay.
I don't mean to... I need to start from up front.
I need to have a sip of water. This is... I'm overheating.
I know, this is just extremely sensual content.
I don't think that's the reason. I'm not opposed in principle. How are you not opposed in principle?
It's a delight, Alison. So I'm not actually going to... I might read a bit of the guy's response, but I want to just read the letter first off, because it's a delicious...
Sure.
It's a creme treat.
Yeah, okay.
My wife and I have been in an open marriage for 5 years. On the whole, our relationship has been uncommonly open and supportive. We both strive to encourage one another to explore and even playfully push the limits romantically and sexually.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Good work, guys.
I'm very happy for you. For as long as I've known her, my wife has been interested in incest roleplay. While it isn't my cup of tea exactly, I've been willing and happy to support her in her exploration of this kind of fantasy and roleplay. Often, she will have me dress up as her father, wear his cologne, etc., while she will wear her high school clothes.
There's always a catch.
It's the specificity of it that is what makes it uncomfortable for me, I think.
And this isn't crossing the line for him yet.
No.
No, okay.
Recently, though, things have started to move in an uncomfortable direction for me.
Sorry, only recently it's become uncomfortable.
Yeah, only recently.
Okay, sure.
My wife is very close with her older brother, who is also bi, and with whom we often speak very openly about sex and sexuality. A few nights ago, and after a few drinks, my wife got to talking fairly explicitly about some of the family roleplay that she and I are into, and her brother, who I thought would be kind of horrified, was not only entirely supportive, but vaguely expressed interest in exploring this kink with us. When we got home, I expected my wife to make it clear that her brother ever joining us in the bedroom was entirely off the table.
Yes.
But instead, she seemed to think it was a really good idea. In principle, I don't have a problem with the idea. Well, like I said, I am not into the incest element of my wife's, and I guess her brother's, fantasy. I'm happy to play along if it makes her and him happy.
Right.
My wife and I have also enjoyed group sex, and so that isn't the problem either. I guess at the bottom, I'm just a little bit worried about how this could affect my relationship with my brother-in-law. Is there a way for me to make this happen without it getting weird?
Just don't make it happen.
I want your response before I read the actual response, because I just want to hear your take on this situation. What would you do?
What would I do? Firstly, I don't think I would be in this situation for a number of reasons.
I do believe that. But let's just get in character.
Let's just imagine that I am
let's role play, if you would.
In this character. Firstly, maybe go see a therapist, wife. Because this family roleplay thing, it may be innocent, but it seems a little bit...
It's just
something to work through with a therapist.
It's the specificity of it is the problem.
Exactly.
It's not dressing up as...
It's not just general daddy.
But
you are my
it's like,
father.
I would like to fuck my dad, please.
Right. It's not just general, like, daddy roleplay. No. It's something else. Now, keep up. Just go find some other people. Get some other people. Maybe you can find someone else to roleplay as the brother.
Alison, her brother's right there and willing. Why wouldn't they?
Well, I honestly, how does someone get into that situation in the first place?
Can I read you the response?
I want to know what this... Because I know Slate is quite open
what this,
about...
this professional's response is.
Yeah.
Forget about it getting weird. Having a threesome with your wife and her brother surely qualifies as virtually any definition of weird in itself.
Thank you.
I don't like to use the word weird in these parts, but because it can be stigmatizing. But hey, you said it.
Yeah.
It is unusual, it is taboo, and could have profoundly negative consequences. One of the nice things about no-string sex, besides the sex, is the lack of strings. Doing incest with your wife introduces not just strings, but a potential tangle of them.
Not even just a tangle of strings. That's like a full tangle of piano wire that's going to chop off a lot of body parts.
It could make holidays and other family get-togethers especially uncomfortable for you. Or maybe it could make these gatherings horny for you three and uncomfortable for everyone else.
Well, that's true too.
Or maybe her family is just like that and everyone will be thrilled. I'd rather not think of the historical implications of that, but maybe you should.
Yes.
I know what you mean about not having a problem with this in principle. And I can envision a scenario in which absolutely no damage is done and you simply have a great time, but the chances of that are far from guaranteed. Why risk it? Which is a very sympathetic tone that he takes.
It's trying to be diplomatic in the response here.
Hey, people, don't fuck your brother. It's a good life. Don't do it.
It's not ideal. I'm not sure what happened in this wife's life, but...
do you have a story for me, please, Alison?
Yeah, I do. It does involve significantly...
Less incest.
Bit of change of pace here.
Oh, that's exciting. I just thought I'd start us off on, like, the roughest one, and then, like, it'll be better from there, you know?
Do we want to talk about bees?
Almost always.
I feel like bees is a nice change of pace. I am reading a story from the United States of America.
Okay.
But that's, that's how it goes. So I'm reading from CNN, and it says, a swarm of nearly 40,000 bees attacked a police responding to a single bee sting report.
Alison, I've just found an article from 2011 on the Naked Scientists that is, are bee colonies incestuous? And it does seem like they are, so unfortunately you are incorrect, and this story does have incest in it. Please continue.
Chris, you Googled a story to ruin my story before it even got...
I Googled bee incest.
I hope you used incognito for that.
I did not.
That's really not ideal. But that's in your Google search history now. That's something you're going to have to... That's the bed you've made. You're going to have to lie in it.
The ads I'm going to get are going to be fascinating.
Anyway, a swarm of nearly 40,000 bees attacked police responding to a single bee sting report. This is from Francisco Guzman and Saeed Ahmad.
Okay.
CNN. They were responding to a report of a single bee sting, but their problem was about to get a whole lot worse. A group of firefighters and police that were responding to a bee sting were attacked Thursday afternoon by a swarm of nearly 40,000 Africanized bees. The first responders were rushed to hospital, while others quickly shut down the block. I've been with the fire department 18 years now and responded to several bee incidents, Pasadena Fire Department Public Information Officer Lisa Durdirian told CNN, but never to this magnitude. Firstly, have you been stung by a bee before, Chris?
No.
Okay, I have, and I didn't call the police when I was stung by a bee.
It is, some would argue, a might overreaction.
I'm not sure in what situation I would be stung by a bee and report that to police, because I'm not a narc.
Can
firstly.
I give you a run of scenarios, and I want you to tell me whether or not you'd call the police in these situations.
Sure.
So we already know stung by a bee for you is no.
No. I've been stung by numerous bees in my life.
You're walking down the street, you trip over, land in a puddle. Do you call the police?
Absolutely. That
Absolutely.
puddle needs to be punished for its wrongdoings. That's assault. That's a grievous bodily harm.
You are in the 7-Eleven. You pick up a
Yes.
packet of chips.
Sure.
You walk out without paying, not intentionally, but you
Sure.
did forget to pay for them. Do
Yes,
you call
I
the
would
police?
call the police, yes, because a crime was committed and the perpetrator, in this case me,
So you
should be stopped.
But at the same time, in that circumstance, you're basically bragging to the police, like, hey, I committed a...
Hey, I stole something from 7-Eleven. Come get me, boys, is what I would say on that phone call. But not if I was in America, because
You'd be shot and killed.
I might be shot and killed, and that's not ideal.
It's not great.
It's not great.
Can't think of any more funny ones, so please continue.
A block full of bees. The bees stung 7 people in total, but 2 of them didn't go to the hospital, the authorities said. No one got it worse than the first firefighter who arrived. The bees stung him 17 times.
Oof.
That led the group to realise that the swarm of bees covered the entire block. The bees were very aggressive, Derderian said. Someone could have had an allergic reaction and it could have been serious and or fatal. Yes, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Firefighters and a professional beekeeper climbed a ladder to remove the hive, which was on the roof of a 4-storey Hampton Inn. They then sprayed the bees with CO2 and foam extinguishers. Some of the bees were killed, while others left the area when the sun went down, she said.
Fucking
The beekeeper...
This just sounds like a normal police operation to me. If you replaced the word bees with people, I would be like, I mean, there's all tracks, to be honest.
Yeah, basically. Now look, there's not much else to this story, but I just thought the idea, firstly, of calling the police and firefighters for a bee sting, there's not much more detail about that situation. Seems a little bit absurd. I don't know how many bees there are in the United States of America, but there are some, according to the movie Bee Movie. So...
The masterpiece bee movie.
The masterpiece. Secondly, the concept of a group of firefighters and policemen coming in to fight bees, it just sounds like something from a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Can you imagine them being like, set up a perimeter, no one's allowed to get through until the bees
Right.
have been dealt with. Put snipers on the roof here and here, take out any bees that stray from the pack.
Yeah, and the idea that they're just coming in guns blazing. Well, I guess in this case, like CO2 canisters and
Yeah.
fire
'Cause, I mean,
extinguishers blazing.
Bees are very small targets is the problem.
Now, the other thing that's absurd here is later on, we are told that beekeepers did exist in this city. Would not be the first smart thing to do to call beekeepers who have the right bee suits and things?
No, Alison, they're the police and they got guns. They'll deal with it. They'll be right. They'll just pepper spray those bad boys.
The beehive is sitting on top of this inn, and the police have made, like, a perimeter with cars outside, and they're all hiding behind the cars, like, aiming up at this beehive, waiting for the queen to emerge.
Come out with your stingers up.
Yeah, essentially.
When I was living in Armidale, there were these 2 possums that lived outside my bedroom window, and they liked
Right.
to fuck in the early hours of the morning. And
Well,
it
that's not ideal.
made a truly ungodly sound. And I'm now thinking maybe I should have called the police on them.
A noise complaint.
Yes.
The police go up there and they're like, hello, just responding to a noise complaint here. This is Officer O'Grady from Armidale Police.
We've heard that there is some loud moaning
Procreation
sounds.
happening
Procreation
here.
happening on these premises.
This is just a welfare check. We want to make sure everyone's okay.
Just
All
so
right.
you're aware, the possums are still loudly fucking the whole time this policeman is saying this shit.
Look, they're exhibitionists.
They're possums and they're all nasty, and if any species
Yeah.
should be exterminated, it's them.
Look, they are kind of glad it's on show a little bit. Maybe it's part of their possum fantasy.
At
They
least,
want-
at least it's not incest. That's all I can say.
Well, you know.
Actually,
that's,
but you never know, do you, with possums?
Now, there was another article there's lots of articles about this. This is quite a big event, 40,000 offenders.
I mean, yeah,
is a lot of offenders involved.
a RICO case right there. That's taking a
Right,
whole mob of bees down.
Right, exactly. This is it goes deep, you know. It's an
Yeah.
organised gang of bees. So I'm reading from The Guardian now because there's some quotes from the...
You're being arrested for the possession of honey, the possession of weapons that are parts of your body.
Absolutely.
You do not have to say anything because you do not have the ability to speak English.
Well,
or speak at
according
all.
to the movie B-Movie, they do have the ability to speak English.
Well, no, that
so...
only has the ability to speak Seinfeld, which is different.
Okay. Speaking of the movie B-Movie...
What a great segue.
Why... How does a bee and a human work in a romantic and assumedly sexual relationship?
Well...
I'm just going to read the rest of this Guardian story, the bit that I wanted to read, because there are some...
I guess
there's some quotes from
if he flew back and forth fast enough, then he could functionally vibrate, and I guess he could make that do something.
Right. Anyway, I'm going to keep...
I think she'd accidentally eat him if she ever tried to kiss him.
Yeah, and that wouldn't be ideal, because then she'd probably get a bee sting in the esophagus.
And
that
also
would
she'd
be
have
quite painful.
she'd have eaten her boyfriend, which is against the law.
Well, that's true. Because I'm going to read this Guardian article because it does have some, you know, quotes from the beekeepers, which I quite like. So this is Dave Williams of the Los Angeles County Beekeepers Association. So look, there is a bloody county beekeepers association that no one thought to call first, which
Well, that's because
you know,
they just panic dialed 911. Like, it's what you do, you know? It's like, I tripped over and fell in a puddle. I need to call the cops, because what else do I do?
Yeah. But like all American law enforcement, this is what the beekeepers had to say. We don't like to kill bees. We're beekeepers.
But sometimes
Williams
we
told
do.
the KTLA. But in a situation like this, where public safety is of concern,
God.
we have to take care of the public.
They're literally using the same language. That's fucking wild. Oh my god, that's miserable.
Oh, God.
We don't like to execute bees, but when we have to, we have a good time.
It's, it's grim, Chris.
Jesus.
Oh, dear. Who's keeping the Beekeepers Association in check?
Who watches the Watchmen? Who watches
Who
the
watches
Beekeeper?
the Watchmen? Dear, oh dear.
Let me bring you a...
We're roasting America a bit too much in this.
Yeah, that's true. Is there any more to this story? Or
No, there's not. We're going to move on.
Okay. I want to read you one of my recurring segments that you might recall is when I read a scathing review of a piece of pop music.
Sure.
This is from Pitchfork. This is written by Jason Green. This is a review of Justin Bieber's new album, Changes.
Oh, great. Did everyone go ahead and stream Yummy while...
Okay, we fucking joke. If I name this episode Stream Changes by Justin Bieber, it will become our most listened to episode. Because
do it.
the Stream Yummy one is our most listened to episode. And I can't...
Congratulations, everybody.
I don't know why you people did that, but okay.
Okay, well, can we make it happen again?
Probably. Alright, this episode's going to be called that because fuck you, internet. I'm going to take advantage of your brokenness.
Also, I don't want to name any episode after that first story.
What, you don't want... So, like, if I named our episode, like, Bee Incest, you wouldn't love that, is what you're...
No, maybe not. Maybe it might attract the wrong kind of listener.
I'd argue that so might the Justin Bieber thing, but, you know, let's continue.
Hey, what wrong kinds of listeners do we want?
That's true. It's the lesser of two evils kind of situation.
Exactly.
The pop star returns with a grown man R&B album about domestic love that has all the glow and eroticism of an airport terminal. At some point during the Endless World Tour supporting his 2015 album Purpose, Justin Bieber stared into a sea of fans and pleaded with them to quiet down. When you guys are screaming, it's hard for me, he muttered, pacing in front of his own Jumbotron double in the opening montage.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a thing he said.
Okay.
he muttered, pacing in front of his own Jumbotron double in the opening montage of his new promotional documentary, Seasons. In 2017, he cancelled the remaining 14 dates of his tour. His team cited unforeseen circumstances, and for a while, the Bieber machine fell eerily silent. Now as it fires back up again, his management is busily filling in the blanks. In one episode of the docuseries, Bieber discusses the severity of his former drug use. He smoked weed for the first time at 13, he tells us, and by the time he entered his 20s, he had progressed to pills and lean. My security were coming into the room at night to check my pulse, he admits. He also discusses his struggles with anxiety and his diagnosis of chronic Lyme disease. No one's ever grown up in history of humanity like Justin Bieber, his manager Scooter Braun adds.
Sure.
At the centre of this whirlwind lies Changes, his first album in 4 years. On it, Bieber returns to us a wiser man. The emphasis here strenuously on man. As of 2018, he's happily married to Hailey Bieber, nee Baldwin, model and daughter of Stephen. Bieber is newly sober, newlywed. Now is the time for a stubbly beard stroked fondly, for wry smiles at the memories of youthful folly.
Sorry, how old is Justin Bieber?
It's like 25, I think.
Shit.
For a sharp decline in public urination incidents. But above all, now is time for sex. More precisely, for lovemaking of the most grown-up and responsible variety. No giggling, constant eye contact.
Yeah, Justin Bieber was born on March the 1st, 1994.
Justin Bieber's like a month and a half older than me.
He is younger than me.
Yeah.
How do you think I feel right now?
Probably basically dead, I imagine.
Right. If Justin Bieber... We've posited this before, last time we talked about Justin Bieber, that now Justin Bieber is a boomer.
Yes. Well, so
because
is you.
He's not having sex. He's making love to his wife, you know.
What? Is it weird? That sentence makes me so grossed out. I don't know why, but just the phrase making love to his wife makes me want to kill myself. Like, I just can't.
He's not like those young youths out there who are doing all these things, you know. He's an adult. Like, he doesn't, you know, youths who are always out there public urinating like all youths do. He's now not public urinating because he's a grown man, adult man.
And he only urinates privately.
Yeah, he only urinates in the privacy of his own home.
His fifth studio album is pitched as an invitation to bask in Bieber's newfound domestic bliss. But while his contentment might be heaven for him and his managers, the resulting album has all the glow and eroticism of an airport terminal. Bieber recorded Changes... It's pretty lazy, Pitchfork, reusing the joke from the...
It's the same joke.
It's not great. Bieber recorded Changes mostly with his main writing collaborator, Pooh Bear, and Josh Goodwin.
Sorry?
Yeah, his main writing collaborator is named Pooh Bear.
Okay.
It's spelled without the H, though, so it's just like poo, like shit. Bear.
Okay.
Without the
that's a choice.
Without the animating presence of someone like Skrillex, who helmed 6 songs on 2015's Purpose, Changes settles into a middle-distance, stream-friendly murmur that is more sleepy than salacious. Its 16 songs, plus a remix, are all cold angles and frictionless surfaces, devoid of intimacy and heat. Married sex songs can be some of the most provocative, see Rocket or Partition from Beyoncé's self-titled album, but the language here is off-putting and sanitized.
Well, we do know that Justin Bieber is a Hillsong boy.
Oh, is he?
He is a Hillsong boy. I'm just going to double check that before I go throwing wild accusations, but I'm pretty sure there was a whole buzz about him coming to Australia for a Hillsong concert.
Cool.
I'm just going to Google Justin Bieber Hillsong. Yep. Here's an article from Vox. Justin Bieber, Hillsong Church and the Celebrity Redemption Narrative. How Hillsong Church transformed Justin Bieber from a bad boy into a Christian family man who makes love to his wife.
Ugh. Nearly every song on Changes resembles every other in tempo, arrangement, and often in lyrics, which seem to be sourced from the same 10 or 15 pastel candy hearts. Some lines would be fascinating in their distance from human communication. Let's get in it expeditiously, he proposes on Come Around Me. If they weren't so dull. Shout out to your mum and dad for making you. Stand an ovation. They did a great job raising you. He bleats on intentions. As that last line hints, there is a creepy patriarchal blankness to the devotion displayed here.
No, you don't say.
In Seasons, Hayley is almost exclusively discussed in terms of what she provides for Justin. She loves her man. She's so caring, so giving, so loyal, says Braun. If I could handpick a girl from the stars, it would be Hayley. His manager, Alison Kay, insists. That kind of anti-erotic ownership language permeates changes,
Jesus Christ.
and is never quite as pointedly apparent as when Bieber sings, "Heart full of equity, you're an asset," right after an ill-advised reference to The Kitchen on Intentions.
God damn it, Justin Bieber. What are you doing?
Now, Hayley and Justin have entered into marital communion, and they'd like you to know that they enter into it eagerly and often. If Bieber whispering, "You got that yummy yum," doesn't make you want to dart away like a cat up a tree, maybe his ecstasy over "the way you motion in my lap" will do it.
I feel like singing a song specifically about having sex with your wife is a little bit more creepy than just generally about sex.
Well, in the context of...
Because in the context of this, you are Hayley and you're listening to this and you're like,
I don't love
this. This is about me, and it's being broadcast to everyone.
The problem with this having like a real life character is that if I'm, say, listening to a song by The Weeknd, who I quite like, whose songs are all just about like all these drugs and sex that I'm having, it's much more fun in my head if like he's a huge dweeb and has never had sex or done drugs ever, and I can imagine that. But Justin Bieber being married means that I can't. And it really ruins it for me. No,
you are imagining he is speaking directly about his real life wife.
It's like whenever Jay-Z talks about sex, and I'm like, don't talk like that about Beyonce, sir. How dare you?
Can I go on a tangent that just popped up?
Yeah.
Because on my Googling of Justin Bieber Hillsong, an article from about 3 days ago on time of recording has popped up on the Latin Times. It says, Hailey Baldwin and Justin Bieber on the rocks because of his ties to Hillsong Church.
Ooh, interesting.
I don't know if this is just a celebrity gossip, but let's just dive right into this a second.
That's a good deal breaker. Fuck the rest of this review. It's not as funny as I thought it would be. Please continue.
Justin Bieber's a happy man these days. While his whirlwind dalliance to Hailey Baldwin culminated into a marriage in the span of less than 1 year, fans are speculating that there's potential danger looking over Baldwin's head. Yes, it's the Hillsong Church influence in the 23-year-old life. And how Bieber might just be using his ties to the church to control his wife.
Awesome.
Not too long ago, Bieber and Baldwin began dating. Bieber would take his rebound girl on church dates, which, according to sources, had a purpose in mind. For the uninitiated, the Hillsong Church and Scientology cater to some members. What? And are fashioned in the likeliness of laws that gave men an upper domineering hand into I don't understand this sentence. For the uninitiated, the Hillsong Church and Scientology cater to some members and are fashioned in the likeness of laws that gave men an upper domineering hand in marriages.
That's phrased so atrociously, but I get they're just saying they have patriarchal tones.
Exactly, right. Anyway, I do like seeing Hillsong Church and Scientology next to each other in a
That
sentence.
is very fun for me.
It is something that I really like to see.
Yes, Scott.
Scott Morrison. Anyway, it just continues to... The Hillsong Church, for those of you who are not familiar, is a mega church which originated in our fine country of Australia.
Love it.
Love that. So... Maybe America birthed Scientology and a lot of other weird things into the world, but Australia did birth Hillsong Church into the world. And for that, I would like to apologise to everyone.
Yeah. We fucked up, y'all.
We did fuck up.
The music is objectionable. The priests are priests, and all that comes with that. And they don't pay any taxes. The fucks.
they're quite wealthy. But that's about all. Anyway, so Justin Bieber is really in a marriage to the Hillsong Church.
And then, because of that, so are we all.
Aren't we all?
Do you want me to find another story, since you kind of just read one?
If you want to.
I think this one will be better.
Okay.
This is something I found in the Armadale Express just a few minutes ago.
Wowee.
I know. When I say a few minutes, I mean just before we recorded.
Right, okay.
And this is by Chris Ledbetter. When the holiday doesn't resemble the brochure.
Okay.
If every holiday resembled the image on the brochure or on the website, your week or fortnight away would be nothing but gorgeous orange-rose sunsets, romantic glances exchanged in front of widescreen views, and nary a scrap, nor a scintilla of cloud in the sky. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, and probably never again.
There's a lot of words there to say, if your holiday was as good as the brochure, it would be great.
It would be a good holiday.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, life rarely plays out in reality as seen in the holiday brochure, or in the movies, or in the video for that awesomely upbeat pop song.
Christ.
This is so bad. So this now presents itself as a list, and it's formatted as like, here's the thing, here's the sales pitch for it, but here's the truth.
So in any kind of listicle that I read, they always open up with this kind of like diatribe introducing the list, when it's just like, no one cares about this, just give us the list. Just
get straight to the list. I wanted to read that diatribe because it was so objectionable.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm glad you did, because...
So, first one, whale watching. The sales pitch. Fins and flukes galore. So many mammalian creatures of the deep, in fact, that you cannot keep count. Bottlenose dolphins on the port side, whales on the starboard. Which whales? Oh, all of them, pretty much. Sperm whales, killer whales, blue whales.
Sorry. What pamphlets is she looking at?
The actual Moby Dick, given mortal shape from the pages of fiction. Each of them dancing and playing for your pleasure, leaping fully clear of the water and holding the pose in direct symmetry with the bow of the ship. But Alison, here's the truth.
Okay.
An angry...
The truth is that whales do not defy the laws of gravity.
An angry, yearning sea, where you feel the first keening hints of nausea the moment the prow goes beyond the harbour wall and the ocean gives to the boat a taunting slap, as if to say, hey fella, you aren't rowing on the Serpentine now. I don't get that, but okay. Water, a sullen grey blue that is exactly the same shade as a whale's tummy or a dolphin's bottom, meaning that even if you do spot one of these beasts of the deep, it will be a fleeting moment where you can't quite be sure what you saw.
Hey, Chris, why is he specifically looking at the bottom of dolphins?
I don't know, Alison.
I'm just going to throw that one out there. I'm not entirely sure why
he, like me, knows that dolphins are one of the few species outside of humans that has sex for pleasure, and he's into that, and he just finds that so fascinating.
That's not ideal. Also, hey, journalist... Why are you so negative?
He's mad at whales for being the same colour as water. Like, that's...
He's mad at whales for not being able to fly.
So, next one. Cocktail tours.
Oh, God.
The sales pitch. A sharp, stylish jaunt around a once crime-ridden district of a city that has recently been converted into a haven for hipsters and lushly bearded young people. Clever, inventive bars called the Slammer or the Gin Thing. I like the Gin Thing. I'd go to a bar called the Gin Thing. Where gorgeous men with tattoos and cheekbones, or maybe even tattooed cheekbones, pour your concoctions with names such as It's a Spritz Bits, Fritz, or The Rum Punch Punch Up.
Okay.
All for
his dream is to open a gin bar.
The specificity of this is very good.
Yeah.
All for a very reasonable $60, and the knowledge that your fellow travellers on this guided odyssey into exquisite booze will be your newfound friends for the whole night and the rest of your life. But here's the truth. A stylish, sharp jaunt around a once crime-ridden district of a city that has been recently converted into a haven for hipsters and lushly bearded young people, with the emphasis on the word recently. In the case of the 6th and 7th Streets, where crack dens are still in operation. He's saying that it's not gentrified enough. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's essentially what he's saying here. Like, Okay, here's the thing, right? I feel like a lot of people who are hipsters, who do want to go on these, like, kind of hipster cocktail tours, probably would find the fact it's not gentrified enough the draw card.
That makes it cooler.
They'd be like, you know, we walked past, like, 3 crack dens to get to this gin bar, but, like, it was so worth it. You've got to get there.
Next is aquariums. The sales pitch.
Why does he hate sea creatures so much?
I don't know, Alison.
What is his thing against sea creatures?
All the scaly things that live in the sea, but all in one place, at the edge of a damp municipal dockside where fishermen used to work, but don't anymore, because we've shifted the port 4 miles away to make room for coffee shops. So now he doesn't like gentrification. I'm so confused.
Yeah.
The truth. Mummy, what are those dolphins doing to each other? Which, based on my aquarium experience...
Chris, I'm sorry. Why is he coming back to sexualizing dolphins?
He really loves the thought
This
of
is
dolphins.
2 times in one article. I'm concerned for this writer.
Once when I went to the Sydney Aquarium, as I am wont to do, there's a dugong there. And it's an extremely horny dugong, because what it does is, when it sees people, he gets real excited. And he gets a big dugong boner. And it turns out dugongs have retractable penises. So it just kind of like emerges from him. And then what he does is he swims down to the glass tunnel thing and just kind of rubs on it. And that's happened more than once to me at that aquarium.
Well, that's not ideal.
And this is the last one I'm going to read, because this is maybe the most, like, Philistine one. The Northern Lights. The sales pitch. A carnival of colour directly above your head. A riot of pink, green, cream and red, as if Odin and Thor might have thrown Valhalla for a massive all-night rave, complete with a roster of bug-eyed DJs who were enormously famous in the 90s, and several crates of the sort of fluorescent alco-pops that rot your teeth as you so much as look at them. Okay.
Sorry, is that supposed to be the sales pitch? Is that supposed to be the good thing? Yeah, he's like, that's the good
one. That's the good one.
Okay, sure.
But the truth. 2 hours spent hanging around in a car park a few kilometres, but not far enough away to cancel out the light pollution, beyond a medium-sized Scandinavian town. The creeping realisation that your little woolly gloves are nowhere thick enough to withstand a Nordic winter. A streak of white against the black...
That's your fault!
Yeah, right?
Why did you buy your gloves at Cotton On when you knew you were going to bloody Norway to look at the Northern Lights, buddy? Lowe's ain't gonna cut it in Norway, buddy.
I'm loving the buddy here, this conversation. A streak of white against the black of the firmament, which may be the Aurora Borealis, but it's probably just a cloud. Or maybe an aeroplane contrail. The sudden knowledge that there will be another hour and a half before you're back at the hotel, shoving your icy hands into the radiator. So, it's really weird sometimes when you read an article that's just someone complaining for 1,500 words.
Yes.
And that was that, and I just wanted to expose it.
Do you remember, like, ages ago, I think it was one of the earlier episodes, we looked at that travel story where it was just a woman complaining about all popular tourist places?
Yeah, she was like, the pyramids are shitty and stuff like that.
She said the desert is hot, for example.
Well, I mean, she's not wrong.
She's not wrong, but, like this guy, Scandinavia is cold.
You could have Googled that.
Okay. I don't know who's travelling to Scandinavia and doesn't know it's cold. Like, if you were in the desert and you were like, actually, it's really cold here, I'd be like,
No shit.
Yeah, well,
other way around, sorry, I got confused.
If you're in the Sahara Desert and you're like, oh, just a heads up, guys, it's actually really cold, people might be like, oh, well, that changes everything.
But if you go to the Sahara Desert and you're like, it is hot here, it's like, well, thank you for your really...
Well, thanks for your insight. Why did you go to the desert if it's hot? Why did you go to Scandinavia if your only gloves come from Best and Lest? And
I love how you're, like, poor-shaming this person for his money, his glove-buying establishment choice.
Well, I don't mean to shame him for that. I'm just cheapskate shaming him, because I'm assuming if he can afford an international holiday...
That is true.
He can afford to buy some appropriate gloves.
Well, he only wears velvet gloves.
Sure. He wears fox skin gloves, and the fox's skin is not going to cut it in this weather.
Do you have anything to finish us off?
Should I jump into like a bit of a viral story?
Yeah, sure.
Now, you've probably seen this story going around, but I just wanted to add some extra context to this story.
Sure.
So this story is about the newest Burger King ads, which you may or may not have seen.
I haven't.
Oh, hang on. Let me just get this open then. So I'm going to read from CNN again. I don't know why they're both from CNN, but it was on a lot of news outlets. So Burger King has decided to go ahead and release some new advertising material.
Yeah.
Which is basically, well, look, this is what it says. Burger King thinks moldy Whoppers will get you to buy more burgers.
Hey, but, okay, right off the bat, it won't.
Right off the bat, yuck. That's very yucky, Burger King.
It's objectionable.
Burger King is remolding the image of its signature Whopper in a nauseating new ad campaign that promotes its efforts to eliminate artificial preservatives and other additives from the company's menu. The burger chain on Wednesday unveiled pictures of its new preservative-free Whopper. In the campaign, the Whopper is covered in mould, decaying as it's consumed by green fungus. It's very yucky. They include a picture here. It looks like, you know, sometimes when your mum packs your sandwich for school and you forget and it's in your bag for like 6 months?
No.
Well, that's happened to Rebecca. I don't mean to shame her.
That's
anyway,
all right. She's having a rough one this episode, but
I love you, Rebecca. Rebecca is my sister. Anyway, the burger does look very gross. The unconventional marketing effort includes a TV commercial showing the all-natural Whopper slowly rotting over the course of 34 days as the soul singer Dina Washington's 1959 hit What a Difference a Day Makes plays in the background.
So is the premise that it's natural? That's what they're going for here.
The premise is that McDonald's burgers... Remember there was that whole viral thing that they never go mouldy?
Oh.
And then they're like, well, we're all natural. Our burgers will mould.
All right, that's one of the downsides to all natural, you guys. This is not the bit you should be highlighting.
This is not the bit you should be highlighting, no. Deliberately absent of food colouring and special effects commonly used to make restaurant meals and their ingredients look appetising. By the end of the 45-second commercial, the Whopper has transformed into a green and blue mess.
Fucking gross.
Now...
It's just like if you were advertising drinking by saying you'll be hungover afterwards. Like, it's not... It misses the... You should... Advertising should point out the positives of the product.
Now, anyway, I saw this floating around Twitter, and I was looking for, like, a news article to read for this bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, when I googled Burger King mold, another story popped up from February 22nd last year. Okay. So almost exactly a year ago from recording. And it's from New Zealand. So I'm reading from stuff.co.nz. And it says, yuck, that's mold. Kiwis complain of mouldy Burger King burgers in Auckland. So I think you know where this is going, Chris. This is almost exactly a year later from this mouldy burger mouldy burger situation in New Zealand. Almost exactly a year later, they release an ad showing a mouldy burger which goes viral.
I have a theory.
Right. Would you like to posit your theory?
I think that the mouldy burger story broke. Huge controversy. Everyone's like, Burger King is cancelled. But there's one, like, small Facebook guy who's just like, you know what? I think this is actually good because it shows that their burgers are natural. McDonald's burgers will never mold. And then some marketing person at Burger King was like, yes, this.
Yes, you've got... Like, all of the like PR people are sitting around a room on a table being like, this shit out of New Zealand is going to ruin us. What are we going to do? And everyone's like, in dismay. And then the guy brings up, as you said, the room brightens up. Everyone's like, you know, this may work.
Well,
but we have to bury that story from New Zealand.
Hunt down the journalist, kill them with our burger weapons.
Well, Georgia Forrester, watch out.
She's not around.
They're coming
anymore.
for you. She's not around anymore. 2 children below the age of 5 ate mouldy burger buns served at an Auckland Burger King, their mother says. The mother of the children, whose Stuff has agreed not to name, said they had bought good on you, Stuff, for agreeing not to name these people because you're not putting their life in danger.
Yeah, they're at risk of Big Burger King.
Right. So the mother said they had bought gross burgers from Burger King Westgate at its drive-thru on Thursday afternoon. But they're not the only ones complaining of mouldy burgers. Aucklander Regan Littlewood also told Stuff he found green spots of mould on the bottom of his chicken burger.
Awesome.
Littlewood bought his burger from Burger King Westgate about 3 weeks ago. He thought the white marks on his burger were from flour, but when he looked closer, he noticed green spots and thought, yuck, that's mould. Yucky.
Oh, this is sickening.
Although he said the mould didn't bother him too much. And he could
what?
understand.
People, just... Today, sometimes when we make this podcast, I just get this like existential frustration with what humanity will put up with.
Oh, look, there's some mold on my burger, but you know it's okay. I guess it's not too bad.
This man is in an abusive relationship with Burger King, where
yeah.
he's just like, oh, but you know, he's really friendly when you get to know him. He puts mold on my burger, but like he's a nice guy deep down.
It continues on, and anyway, we come back to the mother who started the story. It said her children, aged 2 and 4, had eaten their chicken burgers in the car on their way home to Riverhead, she said. My 4-year-old son told me his bun was black, but I didn't think too much of it because I was driving, she said. It was only when we got home and I opened my own burger meal that I saw the buns were really mouldy. My children had probably eaten that crap.
I feel so sad for these children if they realized, because they were just hungry and they just wanted a burger. Oh, this is making me cry a little bit. I don't know why this is affecting me the way it is.
Right. Anyway, so Burger King, this is a coincidence or conspiracy. You decide, listener.
Probably both.
You decide. Exactly a year after this mouldy burger controversy in New Zealand, exactly a year after this mouldy burger controversy, Burger King corporate decides to make mouldy burgers a good thing. To bury the story.
I think this is a setup for things to come. I think that we haven't heard the last about mouldy burgers.
We haven't heard the last of it. But it's going to be sold to us as a good thing.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. You can find us on Twitter or Instagram at Red Menacecast or on Facebook at The Red Menace Podcast. You can buy our merch at tpublic.com. Please recommend the show to your friends. And, check your burgers for mold. That's...
Yeah. But if you do find it, know that it's a good thing and that your burger's preservative-free. So you should go right ahead and nibble on into that.
We should start sending moldy burgers to Michael Bloomberg. Bring it full circle.
Jesus Christ. I'd probably eat it.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Good luck and good night.